The house was full of voices, but none of them were kind. The woman stood near the dining table, her hands folded in front of her. She kept her head low. Her face was calm, but her eyes were tired. She had learned long ago that silence was safer than words in this house. Her husband sat at the center of the table. He laughed loudly with his mother and sisters. Their laughter was sharp. It did not sound happy. It sounded cruel. She can't even pour tea the right way, the mother-in-law said, shaking her head. What did we gain by bringing her into this family? Another voice added. The husband smiled. He did not stop them. Instead, he joined them. She came with empty hands, he said. No money, no support, nothing. The woman did not look up. She only tightened her fingers around a thin brown envelope she was holding. No one noticed it. The family continued eating. Plates were full. Glasses were raised. But the woman had no plate. She stood there like a shadow. Why are you still standing there? The husband asked, annoyed. Go to the kitchen. You belong there. The words hit her hard, but she did not show it. She turned slowly and walked toward the kitchen. Each step felt heavy. Inside the kitchen, it was quiet. She placed the envelope on the counter and rested her hands on it. Her breathing was slow, controlled. Just then, her phone vibrated in her pocket. She looked at the screen. One missed call. From an unknown number. Her heart beat faster. Before she could think, the husband's voice came from behind. Don't pretend to be busy, he said. You have no job, no money, no value. Remember that. She nodded gently. I understand, she said in a soft voice. He left. The woman stood alone again. She picked up the envelope. It had arrived that morning. She had not opened it yet. The stamp on it read, Law Office, Urgent. Her fingers trembled for just a second. Then she stopped. She placed the envelope back down. The sound of laughter came again from the dining room. They were laughing at her. At that moment, the narrator's voice enters softly. Welcome to Silent Family Tears, where pain is hidden and strength is silent. The woman leaned against the counter. The narrator continues, calm and slow. If you believe quiet people feel the deepest pain, subscribe to this channel. And if this story touches your heart, leave a comment. Your voice matters here. Back in the dining room, the mother-in-law stood up and pointed toward the kitchen. Look at her, she said. Always quiet. Always useless. Her father was the same. Poor till the end. The woman froze. Her father. They did not know the truth. The husband laughed again. He died with nothing, he said. Just like his daughter. The woman closed her eyes for a moment. A memory flashed in her mind. Her father's last words. His weak voice. His tight grip on her hand. Be patient, he had said. Not everyone needs to know the truth. She opened her eyes. In the dining room, the husband stood up and raised his glass. To family, he said proudly. To knowing our place. Everyone laughed and drank. The woman stepped out of the kitchen slowly. She stood near the door this time, not near the table. The husband looked at her and frowned. What now, he asked. She spoke calmly. I just wanted to say, I will be leaving early tonight. The mother-in-law scoffed. Where will you go? You have nowhere. The woman looked at her, then at her husband. I will manage, she said simply. They laughed again. The husband waved his hand. Do whatever you want, he said. Just don't forget who feeds you. The woman nodded. She turned and walked toward the bedroom. Inside, she sat on the bed and took out the envelope again. This time, she stared at it for a long moment. Her phone vibrated again. Another call. Same number. She answered. Yes, she said quietly. A man's voice spoke from the other side. Ma'am, this is from the law office. We have been trying to reach you. It is about your father's will. Her heart stopped. I understand, she said. I received the letter. Please, the voice said, it is very important. You are the only heir. The call ended. The woman sat still. Only heir. In the dining room, laughter continued. They had no idea. She slowly placed the envelope inside her bag. Then she stood up. Her face was calm, but something had changed in her eyes. This was not the end. This was only the beginning. And the people who laughed the loudest were about to cry in silence. Morning came quietly, but peace did not. The woman woke up before sunrise. The house was still dark. Everyone was asleep. This was the only time she felt free to breathe. She sat on the edge of the bed and held her phone in both hands. The lawyer's words from the night before echoed in her mind. You are the only heir. She did not smile. She did not cry. She simply sat there. In the bathroom mirror, she looked at her face. It was pale but calm. She had learned to hide her feelings well. In this house, emotions were used as weapons. She washed her face and went to the kitchen. As usual, she started preparing breakfast. She moved quietly, careful not to make noise. She had done this for years, not because she wanted to, but because she had no choice. Soon, the house woke up. The mother-in-law entered first. She looked at the table and frowned. "Is this all?" she asked. "Do you think we eat like beggars?" The woman lowered her head. "I can make more," she said. "Of course you can," the woman replied coldly. "You do nothing else all day." The husband walked in next. He looked tired and angry. His phone was in his hand. He kept checking it. "You're late with the tea," he said. "Can you do one thing right?" She handed him the cup. "Sorry," she said. He did not answer. He was too busy reading messages. The woman noticed his face change. His jaw tightened. His fingers shook. Something was wrong. The sisters came in, laughing and talking loudly. They did not greet her. They never did. One of them looked at the woman and smirked. "Still wearing the same clothes?" she asked. "Don't you get tired of looking poor?" The woman stayed silent. Inside her bag, the envelope rested quietly, heavy, full of truth. After breakfast, the family gathered in the living room. The husband paced back and forth, angry. "My business partner pulled out," he said loudly. "I need money fast." The mother-in-law gasped. "What do you mean?" she asked. "What about our plans?" The husband ran his hand through his hair. "Everything is stuck. If I don't fix this soon, we will lose a lot." The sisters looked worried now. For the first time, they looked at the woman. Not with anger, with need. "You can help, right?" one sister asked suddenly. "Can you ask someone?" The woman looked up slowly. "Ask who?" she asked. They rolled their eyes. "Anyone," the sister said. "You must know someone." The woman almost smiled. "Almost. I don't know anyone," she said truthfully. "You always said I have nothing." The room went silent. The husband turned to her sharply. "Don't play smart," he said. "This is serious." She nodded. "I understand," she said. But inside, something shifted. Later that day, the woman stepped outside alone. She sat on the small bench near the gate. The sun was warm. The world outside the house felt different. Lighter. She took out her phone and dialed the number from last night. The lawyer answered quickly. "Thank you for calling back," he said. "We need to meet. Your father left very clear instructions." "When?" she asked. "Today, if possible," he replied. "Everything is already prepared." She looked back at the house, at the walls that had trapped her for years. "Yes," she said. "Today." She ended the call. Before going back inside, she took a deep breath. She was not afraid. She was careful. That evening, the husband came home late. His face was dark. His voice was sharp. "Where were you?" he asked. "I went out," she said calmly. "Out," he snapped. "Without telling anyone?" "I didn't think it mattered," she replied. The mother-in-law joined in. "Everything you do matters," she said. "You represent this family." The woman looked at her. "Do I?" she asked softly. The question surprised them. "What do you mean?" the husband asked. She shook her head. "Nothing," she said. "I'm tired." She went to the bedroom and closed the door. Inside, she sat on the bed and opened her bag. She took out the envelope again. This time, she opened it. Documents. Signatures. Her name. Her father had planned everything. She pressed the papers to her chest. Tears finally fell. Not from pain. From release. In the living room, the family talked loudly about money, losses, and fear. They still believed she was nothing. They still mocked her silence. They did not know that the woman they ignored was about to decide their future. And she had learned one thing very well. Silence was power. The next morning felt different. The woman woke up with the sun shining through the window. For the first time in many years, she did not feel fear when she opened her eyes. The papers from the envelope were still on the table beside her bed. She looked at them quietly. They were real. Her name, her father's signature, everything he had left behind. She folded the papers carefully and placed them back in the envelope. Then she stood up and took a deep breath. Today, she would act the same as always. Quiet, polite, invisible. Downstairs, the house was loud again. The husband was shouting on the phone. His voice was angry and nervous. The woman passed by him without speaking. He barely noticed her. The mother-in-law sat on the couch, counting expenses on a notebook. "We are bleeding money," she said. "This cannot continue." The sisters whispered to each other. Their faces showed fear now, not pride. The woman went to the kitchen and began cleaning. No one thanked her. No one helped her. But this time, it did not hurt the same way. She was listening. She heard every word, every fear, every crack in their confidence. Later that day, the doorbell rang. The woman froze. The husband looked at her sharply. "Did you invite someone?" he asked. She shook her head. "No," she said. The mother-in-law frowned. "Then who is it?" The husband opened the door. A well-dressed man stood outside. Calm. Professional. "Good afternoon," he said. "I am looking for Mrs." Everyone turned to the woman. She stepped forward slowly. "That's me," she said. The man smiled politely. "I am from the law office," he said. "We spoke on the phone." The room went silent. The husband's face changed. "Law office?" he repeated. "Why would a law office look for her?" The man did not answer him. He looked only at the woman. "May we speak privately?" he asked. The woman nodded. They moved to the corner of the living room. The family watched closely. They whispered. They guessed. They judged. The man opened a folder. "Everything is ready," he said quietly. "The inheritance process is complete. The assets are now legally yours." The woman listened calmly. The man continued. "Your father also left a message. He asked that you hear it when you feel ready." She looked up. "What message?" she asked. The man handed her a small envelope. She held it carefully. The husband could not stay silent anymore. "What is going on?" he demanded. "Why is a lawyer here? What assets?" The mother-in-law stood up quickly. "Yes," she said. "Explain yourself." The woman turned slowly. Her voice was soft, but clear. "My father left something for me," she said. The sisters laughed nervously. "What could a poor man leave?" one of them asked. The woman did not answer. The lawyer closed his folder and looked at the family. "Your father was not poor," he said calmly. "He was private." The room froze. The husband's face went pale. "What do you mean?" he asked. The lawyer continued. "He owned properties, investments, and business shares. All of it now belongs to his daughter." Silence. Heavy. Painful. The woman felt every eye on her. The mother-in-law's lips trembled. "That's not possible," she said. She never said anything. The woman spoke softly. "You never asked." The husband took a step back. "How much?" he asked quietly. The lawyer looked at him, then back at the woman. "That information is private," he said. The woman nodded. "Yes," she said. "It is." She turned to the family. "For years," she said, "you told me I was nothing. You laughed at me. You decided my value." She paused. "I listened," she continued. "I stayed quiet." The sisters looked down. The husband opened his mouth, but no words came out. The woman looked at him calmly. "You only see me now because you need something," she said. The mother-in-law rushed forward. "We are family," she said quickly. "We did not mean those words." The woman smiled sadly. "You said them every day," she replied. The lawyer cleared his throat. "I will wait outside," he said respectfully. He left. The house felt smaller. The husband moved closer. "We can fix this," he said. "We can start fresh." The woman looked at him. For the first time, she truly saw him. "I already did," she said. She picked up her bag. "I am not leaving with anger," she continued. "I am leaving with truth." She walked toward the door. The mother-in-law called out, "Where will you go?" The woman stopped. She did not turn around. "Somewhere I am not invisible," she said. And with that, she walked out. Behind her, the family stood frozen. They had lost control, and they knew it, because the quiet woman they broke had finally found her voice. The house felt empty after she left. Not quiet, empty. The husband sat on the couch, staring at the door she had walked through. For the first time, the walls did not feel strong. They felt weak, like they could fall at any moment. The mother-in-law broke the silence. "She will come back," she said, trying to sound sure. "Where else can she go?" But her voice shook. The sisters exchanged worried looks. They were no longer laughing. Fear had replaced pride. The husband stood up suddenly. "No," he said. "She won't." He finally understood something he should have known long ago. She had never needed them. They had just made her believe she did. That same evening, the woman sat in a small, quiet hotel room. The lights were soft. The air was calm. She placed her bag on the bed and sat beside it. She was alone. But for the first time, she did not feel lonely. She took out her phone and looked at the missed calls. Many from her husband, some from his family. She did not answer. Instead, she opened the small envelope the lawyer had given her earlier. Inside was a handwritten letter from her father. Her hands trembled as she unfolded it. "My daughter, if you are reading this, I am no longer there to protect you. But I believe you are stronger than you know. Do not explain yourself to people who never listened. Do not stay where you are only tolerated, not loved. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Not loud tears. Silent ones. She pressed the letter to her chest. The next morning, the husband woke up with panic in his heart. His phone showed bad news after bad news. Deals were falling apart. Partners were pulling away. He needed help. He needed her. He drove to the hotel where she was staying. He had followed the lawyer's office address and guessed where she might be. When he arrived, he saw her sitting in the lobby. Calm. Composed. Different. He walked toward her slowly. We need to talk, he said. She looked up. You want to talk now? She asked softly. After years of silence. He swallowed. I didn't know, he said. About your father. About everything. She stood up. That's true, she said. You didn't know? Because you never cared to know. People in the lobby watched quietly. He lowered his voice. I was under pressure, he said. My family. She raised her hand gently. Don't, she said. You made your choices. So did I. He looked at her with fear. If you leave like this, he said, everything will fall apart. She nodded slowly. Yes, she said. But not for me. Back at the house, the mother-in-law was already making plans. We should apologize, she told the sisters. She is still our daughter-in-law. The sisters nodded quickly. Yes, one said. We were harsh. But family forgives. That afternoon, they all went to the hotel together. When the woman saw them enter, she felt no anger. Only clarity. The mother-in-law smiled tightly. We came to talk, she said. Let's forget the past. The woman looked at her. You never forgot my past, she replied. You used it every day. The sisters stepped forward. We were joking, one said. You know how families are. The woman's voice stayed calm. Jokes don't leave scars, she said. Your words did. The husband reached for her hand. She stepped back. Please, he said. We can change. She looked at him one last time. I changed, she said, when I realized I deserved peace. The family fell silent. They saw it then. She was no longer asking for respect. She expected it. The woman picked up her bag. I will take care of the legal matters through my lawyer, she said. There is nothing more to discuss. As she walked away, the mother-in-law whispered, You're breaking this family. The woman stopped. She turned around slowly. No, she said. I am leaving what already broke me. She walked out. The doors closed behind her. Outside, the sun was bright. She stood still for a moment, then took a step forward. Her life was no longer behind her. It was waiting ahead, and the family that once mocked her silence was finally hearing the echo of their own words. The city moved fast, but her life finally felt steady. The woman stood near a large window in a quiet office building. The glass reflected her face. She looked calm, strong, different from the woman who once stood silently in a kitchen, holding pain inside her chest. Everything had changed, not because of money, but because she chose herself. Behind her, the lawyer placed a folder on the table. Everything is complete, he said. All assets are secured. The businesses are stable. No one can touch them. She nodded. Thank you, she said. He hesitated for a moment. Your husband's family has contacted us again, he added. They are asking for a meeting. She did not look surprised. I expected that, she said. Do you want to see them? The lawyer asked. She thought for a moment. Yes, she said. One last time. That afternoon, they met in a private room. The husband arrived first. His face looked tired, older. The confidence he once had was gone. The mother-in-law and sisters followed. They were quiet now, careful with every step. The woman entered last. Everyone stood up. She remained standing. The husband spoke first. We made mistakes, he said. We were wrong. She listened without emotion. The mother-in-law wiped her eyes. We treated you badly, she said. But we are family. The word felt empty. The woman finally spoke. For years, she said softly, I waited for you to see me. Not my background. Not my silence. Me. No one spoke. I cooked for you, she continued. I cared for you. I stayed quiet so there would be peace. Her voice did not shake. You laughed at me, she said. You measured my worth by money. The sisters lowered their heads. The husband stepped forward. I loved you, he said quietly. She looked at him. Love does not humiliate, she replied. Silence filled the room. The woman took a breath. I did not come here for revenge, she said. I came for closure. She opened her bag and placed a document on the table. This is my decision, she said. The husband looked down. Divorce papers. His hands shook. You're leaving, he whispered. I already left, she said calmly. This just makes it official. The mother-in-law gasped. What about us? She asked. What will happen to this family? The woman looked at her. You will face life the way I did, she said, without control over others. She stood up. I wish you no harm, she added, but I will not carry your pain anymore. The husband's voice broke. Is there no chance? He asked. She paused. For a moment, memories flashed in her mind. The kitchen, the insults, the laughter. Then she shook her head. Some doors, she said, closed quietly. But forever. She walked toward the door. No one stopped her. Outside, the air felt fresh. Free. Days later, the woman visited her father's grave. She placed flowers gently on the stone. I'm okay now, she whispered. You were right. The wind moved softly around her. She smiled. She had not destroyed anyone. She had not screamed. She had simply walked away. Back at the old house, the family sat in silence. The laughter was gone. The power was gone. Only regret remained. And far away, the woman began a new chapter. Not as someone's wife, not as someone's burden, but as herself. The narrator's voice closes the story. Sometimes the strongest endings are the quiet ones. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to Silent Family Tears. More stories of pain, strength, and silent courage are waiting. The screen fades, but the lesson remains. Those who mock silence never expect the sound it makes when it finally leaves.